Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The leeway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the string. I know the odds wanna murder, I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the string. I know the odds wanna murder, I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all in my blood, all in my veins. They started with perky, now that hair by numbers veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the string. I know the odds wanna murder, I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the string. I know the odds wanna murder, I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah.
Lost see, I glossed through, and shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the feds, giving names. Who gon' feed my family if they take me out the game? Keep one in the head and one eye open, that ain't change. I'm quick to catch a body. When I shoot, he shoot, I know bro shooting right beside me. Them hollow
niggas died at 65.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
On the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled high, I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They too maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nation, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say.
They're playing with the algorithms and shadow banning me, so we need everybody in the live stream to share the live stream. Shout out to the 9 people. Share the live stream.
Yeah, rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land patents, let go of them townhomes. What's a native to a native? $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. Yeah, God's children. Give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's you with God of Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English potted on our homes. Tribal families turned on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we nothing's turned to something. Reincarnation of ancients, fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. 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 Shooters on my roof, lawyers in the coop. We can never die, bitch, we bulletproof. This the message to the black man. This the message to the black man. Say you wasn't slaves, you was prisoners of war. And stop wasting your time, these other bitches ain't important. You ain't meditating, you ain't mating with the sauce. Like what the fuck's a noodle if you ain't painted with the sauce? I find it hard to trust the pastor who rather side with the master, who preaching we should submit while getting murdered and captured. About how we should wait on God is never our.
See my license been in motion, I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet.
If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, hit my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, hit my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with perky, now that hair right up his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, hit my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, hit my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah.
Lost, see, I glossed too, we shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the
Peace and blessings to all the American Aborigines, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Great Grand Rising, man. This is the Wake and Bake Show, man. Let me know what y'all smoking on and where y'all at this Grand Rising. Sorry about didn't do a live stream yesterday. I was on the road traveling all day. We traveled from the Northeast Philadelphia area to the South Carolina area. We are headed to Dillon. We're in Dillon, South Carolina. South Carolina, man. We're going to come support an Aboriginal movement powwow get together. So if y'all in the South Carolina area, y'all don't got nothing to do today, email Big Aboriginal Power. I'll send y'all the location to where we at in Dillon, South Carolina. Y'all can come support the channel. Drop them fire emojis in. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to everybody in the fucking building, man. How y'all feeling this Grand Rising? Y'all feeling good? Hey, man, it's been a long travel, man. I was tired as hell yesterday. I was going to give y'all a live stream last night, but I was tired as hell. It's a lot of driving. You understand me? We coming down here to support Sister Betty and her Aboriginal powwow get together. Hey, we ain't going to no Mongoloid powwows. You will never catch Big Ab at a Mongoloid event, man. We coming to support our brothers and our sisters, man. So like I said, if y'all are in the Dillon, South Carolina area and y'all don't have nothing to do today, man, make sure y'all come support. It's free food out here. And face paint for the kids. Bring the kids. Big Ab gonna be out here, man. Make sure y'all come support, man. That's what I want to say. I want to say peace and blessings to everybody that's watching this, that's not able to comment. Shout out to you guys as you work and be on your daily commute. Make sure y'all be safe as y'all travel around today. I also want to shout out some of the brothers and sisters that took their time out to come rock with me and comment in the chat. So let me take the time out to shout y'all out. Shout out to Juan Torres, Eric Grenzel, Shamel Thompson, Attentionist Goddess, Anthony L. Pickens. Shout out to Berkham Live, Shamel Thomas, Smoke Signal, Black Wolf, Eastside 1415, American Aboriginal, Bat Creek, Rob McCoy, Attentionist Amaru Khan of America. Shout out to Ty Brunson and shout out to Snake God. Shout out to all the American Aborigines in the building, man. It's good to see y'all off in here. Hey man, Big Block, what's going on? Can we get some fire emojis in here? Can we get everybody to share the live stream at least one? Antoinette Johnson, what's going on, sister? Can we get a few people to support the channel and share the live stream? So listen, this ain't my 41st day in a row because I didn't go live yesterday. Do I got to start a whole new trend because I missed the day, y'all? I just want to talk to y'all. I just want to see how y'all feel about that. Do I got to start a whole new wave? Could I miss one day, y'all? I just want to make sure. Do I have to? Are we still on 41 days? Or is that 40 day ended and we start with something new? Just let me know. I was gonna go live yesterday, but I was like, man, I gotta get up. We gotta hit this road early. Shoot on down. You know how I do. I'm ready to get straight into it. You understand me? I'm in South Carolina. Tulsa's birthday. I was headed to Florida today. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Too bad, Juan Torres. I would have liked to meet up with you while we was in the area, gangster. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to my brother Juan Torres in the building. Shout out to Antoinette Johnson for the Cash App donation, supporting the channel. We really appreciate all the support, man. Every little bit of support. Shout out to my sister Antoinette Johnson, and shout out to Sham for supporting the $1 challenge. Shout out to my brother Sham for supporting the $1 challenge, and shout out to Antoinette for sending in a Cash App donation as well. Support, 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 man. Shout out to my sisters Antoinette. Make sure y'all show her some love in the chat for supporting the channel. Man, and make sure y'all show some love to Sham in the chat too, man. Hey, man, listen, we about to get straight into it, man. I can't even hold y'all up any longer, man. Let's get right into what I got lined up for you guys. Shout out to all the American Aborigines in the building. We're going to get to the convo.
That for me. Hit that retweet. We in here doing a special Friday broadcast. Somebody said, "On my mama, mama." Y'all already know who it is. They already saying
Easter deal to the real, man.
I got the homie in here.
It's an honor and a pleasure, man.
Man,
y'all see what it do.
East side, homie. Y'all know I fuck with the
yes,
East side.
Sir.
Real heavy, real heavy. A legend out here in LA. Real respected brother, ladies and gentlemen, man. Real thorough dude. Real top-notch brother, man. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Spider Loke, man. My brother,
man. Pleasure, man. Pleasure.
What's going on with you, OG?
Oh, man, blessings abundant. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I have coined the phrase, which is JITA. JITA is an acronym for gratitude is the attitude. So regardless of what we actually facing at any given moment, we try to remain grateful, man. Gratitude is the attitude. I am honored and feel blessed to be here, bro.
No doubt.
I appreciate the invite. You already know. We can get into it.
Now, Spider, you grew up on the East Side. What block did you grow up on?
Well, my father lived on 99th Street between McKinley, right off of McKinley, right off of Century and McKinley, 99th Street.
Yeah.
However, I lived with my mother, and she lived in Compton. So I have photographs with me and my older brothers from when I still was in diapers. So I don't know exactly how old I was when I was allowed to start going to my father's house, but I had diapers on.
Yeah.
So I was back and forth between what a lot of people consider Watts and Compton, because
Right.
Century and Central is really traditionally Watts, but they call it East Side, South Central.
Where's your family from? Where's your mom and dad from?
Far as other states type shit?
Yeah.
My father originates from far as back as I can remember to Arkansas.
Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavides.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. It's the Tariq Nasheed interview with Spider Loke, man. This should be a good one. I just want to see how they build it on her. Let's see what they talking about.
Yeah. Y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Do that for me. Hit that retweet. We in here doing a special Friday broadcast. Somebody said, "On my mama, mama." Y'all already know who it is. They already saying
Easter deal to the real, man.
I got the home.
I don't know exactly how old I was when I was allowed to start going to my father's house, but I had diapers on.
Yeah.
So I was back and forth between what a lot of people consider Watts and Compton, because
Right.
Century and Central is really traditionally Watts, but they call it East Side South Central.
Where's your family from? Where's your mom and dad from?
Far as other states type
Yeah,
shit?
yeah.
My father originates from far as back as I can remember to Arkansas.
I need y'all to thumb up the video as y'all come in. If y'all can hear and see everything loud and clear, drop a fire emoji in the chat. That's going to simply let me know that y'all can hear and see everything loud and clear in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the building.
So my mother was born here. However, her mother, I believe, Texas.
All right, right.
Yes.
A lot of us come from Texas.
Of course, yes.
Now, how many brothers and sisters you got?
My father has 4 boys, including me.
Okay.
So I have 3 brothers by my other mother, which is my stepmother, my father's wife. I have 2 older brothers and a younger brother, and then there's me. So there's 4 of us, and then there's also an adopted cousin. Shout out to Dice Michael Black Jr., who was my stepmother's sister's son, who was raised in our house, who we call each other brothers. So
no doubt.
Yeah.
Now, you growing up in the 80s over there on the east side, what was it like growing up out there in the 80s? It was real out there in the 80s. What was it like for you as a kid?
That's when people used to jump on the back of the ice cream truck and catch a ride. Back in the 80s, we used to play chicken with our bikes, go up to the 93rd Street School when it was empty. And the idea was to drive real fast on your bike and crash into somebody or try to kick them over. We used to get on our bikes and ride the Dockwaller. It was a time of being very mischievous in the streets. I had 2 older brothers that were pretty mischievous. We're actually 3, like I explained. And then a lot of neighbors that was mischievous. And we used to do a lot of bad stuff, man. I remember at one point as a child, the bad thing was around Christmas time, we was going from people's houses and stealing unscrewing certain little Christmas bulbs. And we used to just do that. And when we ride our bikes, like to throw the bulb by your tire because it go poof. And I can recall one time, shout out Ira, who lived right across the street from 99th Street School. I can recall me and my brothers was like at his house taking his fucking Christmas lights off. And all my brothers was older than me. And somebody opened the front door. And everybody jumped on their bike and pedaled off. And I panicked and I ran off and left my bike. And my brothers had to come back and take me to go get my bike. And I remember Ira went and told my parents, with my father and my other mother, and that's the one and only time I ever received a whooping from my father. He whooped us with like a broomstick. My brothers got them all the time. But we used to have to hold the counter, bend over, and my father get you with that broomstick. And I can recall in the midst of that whooping, him and my stepmother busting up laughing, and they was saying, you could tell when it's a new one, because before he hit me, I kept like I was reacting before he touched me. Yeah. But there was a lot of things in the East Side. You're not trying to paint a real dark story, but we just had fun being bad.
Now, how old were you when you got put on?
I've never been put on.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Wow.
It's just the opportunity never presented itself. When I came on the set, my scenario was I was like 11th grade, 16 years old, going to private school. And I used to start ditching school and just popping up in the set.
Yeah.
Off the bus with a pistol. Certain things used to take place. I used to react with my pistol. And
hey, be safe, big brother Juan Torres. Be safe, bro.
Getting quartered on ever came up. I was from the set. I was active with my pistol.
Now, you went to private school.
Yeah, 70 Adventist school to be exact.
And you went to school with Brandy. Right.
I went to school with Brandy, Norwood.
The singer Brandy.
Yeah, the sensation, legendary Brandy. Not only
Brandy, Ray J's sister. Shout out to everybody in the chat. It's a dope interview, man. Let's continue the live stream. Shout out to all the American Aborigines and the FBA brothers and sisters in the chat, man. Let's continue.
I go to school with her. I was a bit older than her, and we had a very innocent, romantic relationship. She chose me to be her boyfriend, although I had a girlfriend that was my age, an actual relationship.
Now, saying older, you weren't like over the age, and she was under the age.
No, not at all.
Let's clear. I just want to make that clear.
The school only went up to 10th grade, so it was under 10th grade, and then she was a few grades younger. Right. However, I had a girlfriend that everyone was aware of that was my age, and Brandy just made it her business to let everybody know that she was my little girlfriend. And it was a very very plutonic, nothing physical, not that it was just it was really a joke.
Right.
But if you just look at the confidence she attacked the world with, I want to let the world know she had that confidence way back then because it was her that created this little fake energy between she and I. It was nothing real. It was just a joke, a fun little cute thing, but it was something she initiated. And I can recall her singing in chapel and me just personally with my personal intuition, knowing that her voice was great beyond her age, anything I had ever heard. So I was surprised, shocked, but actually not to find out that she went on to do great things with her voice. It was like a confirmation of what I had saw in her.
No doubt. Now let's fast forward, Lo.
Yes.
Now, when did you first get signed as a rapper to a record label?
My first time actually getting signed was to G Unit. However, on an independent level, in affiliation and being able to like go in the store and see my name on an actual project, that began in the very early 2000s when Cam, what's up to Cam?
Shout out to Cam.
Hey, I got a lot of respect and love for Cam. He's not too happy with me based on some comments I made about the minister following neighborhood Nip funeral. And he really deep into his beliefs and his connection with that. He was offended.
What was the comments about?
The minister made some comments during the funeral where he tried to make a correlation between 666 and the rolling 60s, and he did mathematics and he made it seem. I felt like when I was in the Staples Center, it went over everybody's head outside of mine because I have studied the mark of the beast extensively, and it seemed like he made an untrue correlation. And I was this personal friend of mine, shout out to the Keyway Christ neighborhood Nip, and I've been raised in a theology sense to be anti-Islam. I was raised Protestant, so even though I'm not a practicing religious person, just when it comes to concepts of doctrine, I'm naturally someone on the defense. Traditionally, when I hear now, I'm in a totally different place, but even at that point, I got in a sense of defense when I felt that he misrepresented what 666 was and tried to tie it into 6 times 10, 60s. He made it. And when I'm getting loaded at the funeral, and after the funeral, I went live. And instead of me just disagreeing with him, I was kind of disrespectful. I think the phrase that really turned Cam off and turned him wrong and some of the other brothers was, I was like, fuck cousin, that bullshit. And that was a phrase that didn't sit well. And I've since taken down the actual content.
Good.
And I submitted, or I gave an apology to those that mattered. I don't know how well it was received, but Cam, who's been one of my best friends in the industry, a mentor from day one, has really shifted our energy since then. Even though he accepted my apology verbally, I could tell it's been way different. I love you though, Cam. I understand how this shit go, my nigga.
So what was your connection? I thought you were down with Death Row before G Unit.
Okay, I was like I say, Cam put me on this Camnesia project. Shortly thereafter, I was able to collab with Sibo up out of Sacramento.
Shout
out to Sibo, the Ballhead Nut, Killer Tay as well, Brother Lynch. And I would also say all of that energy. Drace to the Gangster was involved, Yuck Mouth, Jail Felony. And I got all those opportunities by first being affiliated with my homeboy Wino from 190, who was responsible for doing a lot of the successful Coolio production. So based on his success and me being affiliated with him, it was a lot of doors open to me. Shout out to Wino for that. And after that little phase in my life has slowed down, I met Suge Knight through my big homie Ant, rest in peace, and Magic from A7 Gangster, who had a label, Done Deal Records, who had the movement Say the Babies throughout the years. And they attended a meeting with Suge Knight where my name was brought up and I was invited to attend. And then I came, I did a little acapella rap, and then that initiated a 2-year experience where I was basically Suge Knight artist, although there was never any paperwork.
You weren't
never signed.
Correct.
Right. Yes.
Now, what was that vibe like? You blue rag up there at Death Row, and you know what Death Row was about. So what was there tension up there for you?
There was no tension. You got to realize traditionally that's a place that started off with Suge and Snoop.
Right.
So the blending of the blue and the red was not a big issue to introduce over there. And then when you come to the table with as one such as myself, authentically representing where I'm from, really being a person that sticks out in the front line of the culture, respect it usually dictates interaction at the top.
Right.
You know, especially like when you come from a background of being in prison young, you realize there's really no gang banging in prison. There may be gang banging in the county jail, but when we get to the prison level, we program. And the same dude who got your hood whacked out on your arm, whether he's your best friend or not, he's not your enemy. And that's something you learn. So I've learned that from young, going to prison quite young.
Now, how old were you when you went to prison?
I was 18 the first time I went to prison. Yes.
How long did you go in?
I went for 2 years the first time. I stayed out about 6 months, and then I returned with a sentence of 32 months with 80%. And I paroled in 1999, and I've yet to return back to prison.
Now, what was the first 2
The
years
first
for?
time was a strong armed robbery, petty punk shit. Got caught up, got 2 years, took a plea deal. And the second time it was ex-con with a firearm. And they gave me the 16 doubled up with the 80%. That's when that shit was a real new concept, giving you that low term, doubling it up and give you 80%. Yeah, it was like mid-90s.
Did you ever get back cool with Snoop? Because Snoop Dogg, yeah.
Well, back cool.
Well, let's go back. Let's go back. Because some stuff at Death Row.
Okay, sure.
Some stuff going on at Death Row.
Sure.
And Suge wanted you to kind of throw shots at
Yep,
Snoop.
I stepped up and played the little torpedo role in the sense of that I was on the label, and I allowed Suge to suggest me to be disrespectful to a degree that I didn't personally really agree with. However, I did it. Once I got signed to G Unit, I made it my business to approach Snoop Dogg and make it try to clear the air.
Yeah.
Because his mother was utilized for subject matter in a very disrespectful sense, and I wasn't proud of myself.
Right.
And I also knew that he had affiliation with my new team that mattered. So I made it my business as a man to approach him and clear the air. And he and I, for all I could understood, we squashed it. We was cool. And then, however, from what I can gather, based upon my public clash of character and words with Game, the rapper, the Game.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg chose to
roll with Game.
Yeah. And not be satisfied or happy with me, or I wasn't his East Side Crippin' partner no more. And whatever we were about to establish, or we had established, seemingly was thrown out the window.
Now, you were down with Suge. Now, how did you get connected with G Unit after being down with Suge? Because
it's ironic because it's right before I met the G Unit camp, I took it upon myself. Shout out to John, Reggie Wright too, the whole Bond First team, because John, who is Reggie Wright's partner in that venture, he used to run the Death Row website.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Thumb up the video. Shout out to Kelvin Gilbert for the cash out donation. Shout out to Kelvin Gilbert for the cash out donation. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Make sure you hit that like button.
And I can recall asking him at a time when I was dissatisfied with what was going on to take me off the website. And he told me, I can't do that unless somebody from the actual label tells me to, Spider. I wouldn't mind, but the only reason I can make changes like that if I get it from authority. So I had to approach Suge and let him know that I would rather not be on the website and be classified as his artist. And it took a lot of courage, because at that point in my life, being affiliated with Suge and the Row was the biggest thing I could imagine.
Right.
I had no prospect of anything bigger coming, and it was like, but I was still realizing it wasn't doing me justice. So I had to swallow that, step away from Suge, and then just
shout out to Tariq for locking in with a you know what I mean, West Coast, East Side legend. You know, he's from the East Side of Cali. Man, shout out to my man Spider Low. Shout out to everybody in the building coming in, man. Shout out to Tariq again, man. Shout out to all the American Aborigines. If y'all can hear and see everything loud and clear, drop a fire emoji. Drop a fire emoji on the chat. Man, shout out to my brother Lil Yos in the chat, man. Hope all is well, man. Been traveling. Like I said, the reason I did do a live stream yesterday, I was traveling. We was on the road, headed from the Northeast down to the South Carolina area, man. We in Dillon, South Carolina. Shout out to everybody in the building. If y'all want to come support an Aboriginal powwow, get together. Make sure y'all come pull up. It's free food, face paintings. Bring the kids, man. Enjoy yourself, man. Enjoy yourself if you ain't got nothing to do on this beautiful, beautiful Saturday. All right. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Let's turn up a little bit.
Ironically enough, the next phase in my life with my career was I was trying to go independent with some street niggas up out of Watts. And the main cat that was being the director of the team, the coach at that point, you know, his concept was get it out the mud. And therefore we were in Atlanta. And he took me to Atlanta, introduced me to a handful of people. He jumped back on a plane, went to LA, and I was in Atlanta with all the work. And we was finna make it happen and get our budget and do our thing. Independent. Shout out to my nigga Pipe the Snipe. Everybody eat. You already know what it do, YOLO. And then what happened was my brother at the same time, shout out to Big Spider, he was in Nashville, Tennessee. And you know how close Nashville and Atlanta was.
Right.
While he was in Atlanta on his little grind, we in a brotherly rivalry sense used to talk to each other and give each other updates on what it was going on Nashville to Atlanta. And one of his updates started to include it. This nigga Young Buck from G Unit, nigga, I'll be out here in Nashville, nigga. He pulled up to the projects. It's 30, 40 niggas outside. He grabbed me. We jump in the tray and hit cone and smoking. He started saying things like that to a point where I was like, well, nigga, had that nigga call my phone. And then he was like, he took the challenge. He was like, matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna call you right back. And next thing I know, Buck called my phone, and that led up to my brother, Young Buck, and the people that introduced my brother to Young Buck all came to meet me in Atlanta because Young Buck was on the Straight Outta Cashville tour, and it was scheduled to come to Atlanta. So that Nashville crew that had introduced my brother to Young Buck all came to Atlanta, and we hung out for a few days awaiting Young Buck to get to Atlanta on his radio tour. And just by chance, a couple days before he got to Atlanta, the G Unit spinner had got taken in Chicago. And the people that introduced my brother to Buck were so close to Buck that when he got to town in Atlanta, he went to radio and his squad went to his hotel room. So by the time he got to his hotel room, I was already in there with a lot of people that he knew. And he came in there talking about the chain and things progressed from there. But that's initially how I got connected with the G Unit situation.
And when you got with G Unit, you got immediately involved in that whole beef with Game. Is that
almost immediately?
Okay.
It seems immediately now in hindsight, but for a long time I wasn't involved. You know, I would talk to 50 behind the scenes about it, and he would advise me not to get involved. Game initially used to make songs dissing the members of G Unit, but he would say positive things about me in the same song to make sure he tried to keep me out of it.
Right.
However, there were more than one of these. A lot of these floating around, and we was G Unit West and G Unit Crippin, G Unit period a lot. And here he was in LA just G Uniting. It's just not in my spirit to sit it out.
To let
it was just like, I felt like if you want to do a record and say, fuck them, but I roll out the blue carpet for Spider, then I think in reality you should have respected it enough to say, fuck him, and not G Unit when you see I'm pushing. That's like dissing the set. Instead of getting mad at the nigga you mad at, you gonna invoke a defensive nature in anybody that represent what you dissing.
Now, what was that confrontation with you guys and Lil Wayne? It was something with you and Lil Wayne and all those guys and Baby. What was that about, and when did that happen?
That happened, I can't quote a date, but those that are familiar with the record, he had a single out at that time.
Lil Wayne.
Right. Whereas he had a line that says, Suwu gang, if you ain't with that, you in the food chain. And that just didn't rub me the right way. For one, industry affiliation. I was a lot younger back then and a lot more interested in what gang shit was resonating through the industry. And he said that, and in my mind, Suwu gang, if you ain't with that, you in the food chain. I think about the ocean. And I just thought about crabs. I'm like, okay, he dissing. He's a college student. He's real lyrical. That's his way of dissing. And I felt like if LA artists that represent the red side and the blue side don't do that type of thing, I felt like it was unacceptable. So it was something that had been on my mind just for every time I heard that record, I used to think about it. And then, and this is another thing that would date the time frame. It just so happened, it was a period of time where I had a record that was produced by Felly Fell, and T-Pain was on the hook. And I had yet to meet T-Pain.
Felly Fell for Power 106.
Yeah, shout out to Felly Fell, the legend. And I was looking for opportunity to finally meet T-Pain and ask him, would he support the record, let him hear it, see if he liked it.
Right.
And just so happened, I had a studio in North Hollywood at the time, and T-Pain, by chance, I realized was there shooting a video to that song. You find me out in Aspen.
Yeah.
So that dates it again if you want to realize when it was. So
2008, I'm thinking.
Okay, yep, yeah, right around there. So when I realized he was there shooting a video, he was at my location of my studio. However, it's similar to your compound, and the way it was designed is you can be over here where the audio recording goes on, the recording studios, but on the same address, there's another section where they do visual recording.
Mm-hmm. I know where it is. I've been in that studio. No problem.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I know
right
exactly
there.
where it is. Yeah.
So when I realized that what happened was I had walked across the other side to get a blank DVD, and when I saw the production, I saw somebody on the crew. I said, "Y'all shooting a video today?" He like, "Yeah." Some guy named T-Pain. Is he big? It was a white dude. Yeah. I'm like, hell yeah. But mind you, I had that record.
Yeah.
I burn the DVD, I burn the CD, I go drive around. When I go drive around, they had a security dude in the middle of the street that asked me, "You here with T-Pain?" I'm like, "Nah." He said, "You here with Lil Wayne?" And that was my first mind that Lil Wayne was gonna be involved in what's ever going on. So mind you, I just know T-Pain shooting a video. I want to come play my song for him and politic and hope, whoop. So when the security dude asked me, was I here with T-Pain? I'm like, nah. He like, "You here with Lil Wayne?" I'm like, "Nah, I got a studio down there." He got real respectful and apologetic. He like, "Oh, okay," and let me through. But now I'm thinking like Lil Wayne. I'm thinking I'm about to see Lil Wayne. However, when I go, I had Eno with me from the Bay, aka his new name is Replay. He sung on the Hook of Beautiful World and a lot of my records back then. He's a very talented artist. He's an R&B dude, non-confrontational. So he was with me. So we go down there to
shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Thumb up the video, man. We got Laurel Grassroots, Robert Williams, OG Machine. Shout out to my brother Lil Yost, man, for sending the cash out donation, man. We gotta show some love. Shout out to my brother Yost, man. We appreciate all the support, man. We really do, man. Shout out to my brother Lil Yost, man. Hope all is well, man. Make sure y'all support the channel, thumb up the video, and share the live stream, man. Let's try to get 200 people in here before the hour marker up, man. I ain't gonna be in here long. We got some shit to do today, so make sure y'all share the live stream and tune in, man. This is Spider Low interviewing with Tariq Nasheed, man. Let's get it.
Me, T-Pain. And when I walk into the video shoot, his number one security is a friend of mine who happened to be 50's man security when I first met him. His name is Anton. Shout out to Anton. So when Anton seen me, he came right to me, asked me what was going on. I let him know what my interest was. He walked straight to T-Pain, told him whatever. T-Pain came. I talked to him about the record. Cool. He said, "It's all good." So it was somebody else there I know that I won't name. I seen Lil Wayne wasn't there. So as I went back to my studio, I told that individual, as soon as you get there, let me know. So as hours pass, I keep checking. He like, "Nah, he ain't there yet. But in the meantime, I swear to God, death before the sun. Shout out to my nigga Shice, rest in peace, from 62nd Street. He was fresh out. I called my nigga Shice. I'm like, "Hey, whoopty wop wop finna be wop wop whoop if you want to whoop wop wop wop." So I called Shice. When Shice came, he called a few homies. Them homies called a few homies. Them homies called a few homies. Big Payback was from 818.
I ain't gonna lie to you, brother Robert Williams. I've heard Tariq Nasheed go in on Mexicans. As a matter of fact, that's what got me interested in looking at all these foreigners during the COVID area and the riots with George Floyd, and the Mexicans was beating up on black people willingly in Chicago, and a lot of brothers from around the Chicago area stepped up. A lot of people start talking about it. But yeah, the hatred and the disdain between the Latin community and the so-called black community has always been some type of odds, if you will. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody in here.
North Hollywood. Yeah. He called a gang of homies. Now, next thing you know, we got a parking lot full of Crips waiting for Lil Wayne to show up at this video shoot around the corner. And I'm gonna be honest, I had intentions on going around there and allowing the people that was with me to cause a whole lot of damage. But the way the creator works in mysterious ways, I was with 40 Glock, and I don't know if you recall Kite Phones, Kyte. They were like one of the first live streaming devices I was familiar with. Way back then, he was interested in going live on a Kite Phone, which caused all the people with us to be apprehensive about
they want to be on film.
And it saved me, because now you see how it's no telling how things could have progressed. Lil Wayne wasn't actually in the vehicles. He was just dropped off, and the two vehicles that we encountered, they had Baby and Slim in them. And I didn't realize that they had just dropped Lil Wayne off and they were leaving. And I thank the creator once again. I didn't realize that. We would bypass the vehicles and went right into that video shoot that I was at earlier. It was a very small area. You see how many people it was.
Yeah.
So
and didn't Payback pass away
rest
later?
in peace to Payback. He did. Yes, but
yeah.
God,
What year did he pass?
You gonna fuck me up trying to do the year, but it was a few years after that.
Okay.
So
R.I.P. to Big
maybe R.I.P. to Big Payback. Let me see. It had to be like 12 or 13, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe 11.
Yeah.
Oh no, you know what? Like 14.
Okay.
2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long. We don't realize
Time
how
be
long
flying.
ago time fly, don't it?
Yeah, it's just, and then when it comes to industry and my personal acquaintances, and you take Neighborhood Nip, Payback, even Gonzo Slim 400, and Snoopy Blue, the list gets long about how many of my personal friends that are associated with the industry have made headlines with their death to gun violence. It's like, wow.
Now, you were on G Unit with 50 Cent. Eventually, you and 50 fell out. What made you and 50 fall out?
Well, there was never an actual fallout. There was more of a fallout of communication and interest on his behalf. And what happened was I took it on the chin. No negative commentary went on about my life. However, I did a Doggy Diamonds interview. Shout out to Doggy Diamonds in about 2017. I went to New York, and he asked me questions that caused me to explain my experience. And no, I'll go right before that. It was even more simple than that. It was a regular Throwback Thursday. I ran across a clip in my library in my phone where 50 Cent was hating on me the very first time he went live in 2007. He was overseas and he went live from This Is 50, and he had Yayo and Banks kind of like winging him in behind. He had advertised on This Is 50 for quite some time that on such and such date you will be able to go live with G Unit. Going live was a pretty new thing.
It was.
And when he finally launched his live, you could tell as he reading the questions in the chat, he immediately got irritated because the questions were pertaining to myself and Hot Rod. And his response was to the audience, man, what's all these questions about Spotted Low? You don't even know how to ask good questions. And he went on with some rhetoric similar to that. So what happened was some time passed. We stopped communicating. Obvious, we were no longer associated with each other. I never expressed any type of disdain or any type of negativity in the public. But one day I went on Throwback Thursday. I posted on my little page with my few followers.
And like I said, coming from a nigga who gang bang, man, fuck that gang banging shit, man. This Aboriginal shit is the only thing you niggas need to be banging, man. Banging for your culture, banging for your traditions, banging for your history, man. Banging for your motherfucking existence, man. Fuck all that other shit, man. But I respect all the other, people that's involved. But man, fuck that shit. My mom.
My caption said something like Throwback Thursday when I figured out 50 Cent was hating on me. And he couldn't resist responding. And his response was via his Instagram, and it was a page, it was a quote that says something to the effect of, I wasn't hating, I was just frustrated because you didn't deliver. I signed OT Genesis, it didn't work out. The next thing you know, in love with the Coco. What's up, cuz? Where your shit at? Or something like that, trying to like deflect as if the fact that we didn't experience success one with another was my fault, which is the furthest thing from the truth. So when he did that, which I consider is a lie on me, because he declared I didn't deliver. And shout out to Puto, Turtle, rest in peace, are my witnesses, amongst others, Kai Miller and other people that were around when he let me know that my album was complete and ready to go for sale. So if that's the perspective he wanted to get to the public after all these years, and it was dishonest, that's when I became comfortable being more honest about him and disrespectful, because if I am 100% honest about everything that I experienced, then I'm sure he will feel disrespected by some of the things that I state. And I just like, after biting my tongue and being careful not to be offensive, just finally get tired of not being comfortable enough to just tell it how it is, when if I show you, matter of fact, I'm gonna just show you the little clip. You tell me, like, you know the history, the relationship.
Yeah.
If we never had anything negative between he and I am your artist, and which is a product that you have investment in, you explain to me how this is cool. So, mind you though, Tariq, I did not react negatively toward him once he said this.
Mm.
I took it on the chin. However, years later, on a throwback Thursday, I posted it and said, "Hey, this is when I remembered when I realized Cuz was hating on me, and when I did that, he reacted, and when he reacted, yeah, I kind of went on one.
Mm.
So yeah, I only felt comfortable trolling him so much is because he was comfortable trolling in general.
Mm.
If you notice my internet experience in these last 3 or 4 years, I've done a lot of trolling, but I've only been comfortable trolling trolls
Mm.
because trolling is not in
Hey
my
man,
natural
shout out to all
character.
my
I'm
people in the
capable.
chat, man. Hey, this is the Wake and Bake Show. Shout out to Richmond, California, man. Shout out to y'all, man. It's nothing but love from over here by Big Aboriginal Power. I want everybody in the chat to drop your city and your state, where y'all at and what y'all smoking on. This is the Wake and Bake Show. Let me know what city and where y'all smoking on, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. It's your brother Aboriginal Power. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Shout out to everybody, man. Let's continue.
But it's not something I normally do. But if you high profile and I have a personal connection and issue with you and you are a troll, I will troll you with no problem. Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, the consensus was that 50 was trying to make G Unit basically somewhat of a Crip set. How true was that?
Well, I can recall when we first started interacting and he did express like slight appreciation for the blue over the red. However, when I started hollering G Unit Crip, I can recall him giving me like energy of warning or apprehension in the sense that I remember he told me in reference to the law enforcement, he was like, "Yo, B, they believe you with that G Unit Crip shit because you know G Unit Crip is as fake as anything can be."
Right,
but the members and affiliates were so real in what they were already associated with. It was hard to tell that we was just playing.
Mm.
We just rap playing, but
right.
it caught a wave. He never expressed any interest, me personally, that he wanted to see his label affiliated with gangs. However, he did come to LA and handpick gang affiliated artists.
Mm.
But he never, I think he wanted the association, but I don't think he really realized what that came with.
Why do you think the check-in has been so important with people coming out to LA and the narrative that they need to check in? Why do you think that's been so important?
Well, I think LA has had a history for victimizing people who are high profile in the industry that come out here thinking it's sweet. And the most
Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. What up, Drip Check?
Victim is being in touch with somebody that can kind of like secure your travel and situation. The fact that people are making something of intimidation and be bold to claim it is kind of indicative of the times. People doing all type of shit on camera, which is not traditionally what G's do.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they want to be bold enough to holler out, yeah, check in, that's slightly different than what I remember it being. I can really recall from my history being out here. That's like a spirit or a temperature that Suge Knight set. Suge Knight made it to where niggas from out of town, you better know somebody when you out here.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. Anybody that know better than me can challenge me. But from what I can recall, that was the way Suge put it down. And those that carried it on, most of them was personal affiliates with Suge that extended it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times you see a lot of artists buying their way onto a set. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that vibe now? I don't see it too much on the blue side. Do you see it on the blue side a lot?
I have to be honest and say I'm guilty myself. I allow Young Buck to claim my hood based on the fact that he provided financial gain for me. So as corny and whack as we all might want to admit it or claim it to be, I gotta first admit that I participated. So I think I could look at it both ways. You know, basically this gangbanging comes from the environment of the have-nots, poverty.
Yeah.
So, you know, allowing someone to be associated for the benefit of the overall, I don't think it's a total negative. but I think it does cheapen the brand of what we say we believe in when we allow that to happen. I think it's a fine line. Like I say, I participated, and I'm not the bottom line of none of this shit. And I think it goes on. I think you just got to be careful, make sure you get something adequate when it comes to terms of compensation when you start allowing these affiliations to be made. I know me personally as being a public figure, I would not be comfortable with somebody else on a public level like Young Buck claiming my hood if he wasn't compensating correctly. And I can at least say when I compare to what I've seen other people do, I think I'm ranking in what I got out of it. Yeah, it's up there. It's not like he got me for a jelly roll. You feel me? You know, Chris Brown and Soulja Boy, they claim a Compton Pyru hood. And I'm pretty sure, you know, certain people are benefiting, but I'm just curious as the public figures from that section, are they benefiting?
Don't Tiger claim a Pyru hood too?
Tiger, if I'm not correct, at least he used to claim Hoover. Lately, Tiger's been like on the internet with Chanel sandals and pastel toenail polish. Yeah, then he just recently went Kardashian.
As a matter of fact, the nigga dressed up like one of the white chicks. Tiger dressed up like a white bitch and did a music video. Hold on, I might have to show y'all that. Nah, they got copyright use and shit on that. Fuck it, go look it up. The nigga dressed up like some bitch off a white chick.
So I'm not sure if
look
he
like
was
Lil'
trying to
Kim.
maintain any affiliation at this point. But if I'm not mistaken, when he was professing affiliation, it was with the Hoovers.
You know, speaking of Tiger, they just made him apologize for a music video.
Bro, I've been seeing the headlines.
Man, what do you think about that? They brought
the name of the song was Ay Caramba. I haven't heard it, so I don't know what about it could be deemed disrespectful. But however, I just want to say on that subject, there's a whole culture of Hispanics that say nigga like it's an everyday word. So if we're going to start being sensitive about things, I haven't heard the song. So I cannot take a real stance on it. But
it was more so the video. The video, he was, to me, it looked like he was kind of comedically paying homage to Hispanic culture, but it was kind of over the top. I don't think he was being malicious with it. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't imagine him, the character that he presents, trying to have problems with Serenos or essays in general. I don't think he was looking for that. So if he can go through a production and go all the way to final cut and edit and still be offenses toward them, that maybe there was apologies in order. I haven't seen it, but you know, when I first just seen the headlines and just my initial perspective is, Ay Caramba, okay, but like we accept them saying nigga every day. So I just can't imagine what he did. So just
yeah, man, and that's real. We allow a lot of people to say shit. Most of the time when we see other cultures, think about it. What your grandmama used to tell you. Let them people do what them people do. That's just them people. Let them folks do what them folks doing. We don't be going out bothering no goddamn body, man. For real. Our people are peaceable people, man. We just mind our own fucking business. You give us what we got, we're gonna make it do. And if not, we're gonna make some new shit. We're gonna advance what's going on. Man, I got a problem with any nigga in a dress. Man, this nigga Tiger had on a dress. Lil Nas X, man, I don't respect none of that. I'm taking the little Boosie stance when it comes to that bullshit. Seriously. I'm not going for that, man. Shout out to the Chai Alpha. Yeah, we're a little early, man. I got to get this live stream in and out because I got some shit to do today. I'm in South Carolina with it, man. We drove down here to South Carolina to come support Sister Bethy, man. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Turning up with Sister Bethy today. I might go live on the IG or something. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Let's go.
I haven't seen it, but you know, when I first just seen the headlines and just my initial perspective is, Ay Caramba, okay, but like we accept them saying nigga every day. So I just can't imagine what he did so disrespectful that warranted an apology. But maybe an apology when it's not appropriate is kind of consistent with pastel toenail polish. I'm just saying.
And shout out to Tiger. I'm cool with Tiger.
I'm cool with everybody, man. I'm just, it's hard to ignore facts, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not lying about the Chanel sandals and the toenail. It's not a lie.
Yeah. Whack 100, man. What's
Whack no honey.
what's going on with you and Whack? What's happening?
The reason why I've been so vocal once again and disrespectful toward him, although I've been honest, is because he took the opportunity to be dishonest about me and disrespectful in the same breath. He tells this story, this imaginary story that never took place, where he supposedly responded to Game being in distress at my threat, and for some unknown reason to everybody in the world, Game had enough time to call Whack. Whack had enough time to convince Suge, wherever they were, that they needed to respond, get to the scene, and he was still able to come in time to save Game from me doing something to him, even though I was already there, had him hemmed up.
Yeah.
Never happened. The incident took place. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Prodigy, rest in peace, for Mobb Deep, also recalled this exact incident in his book, and he did not include me when he gave a roll call for everyone that was there. 40 Glock for years has been given an account of this incident, and because he even desires the credit for what took place that day so much, he's been adamant about the fact that I wasn't there. He wants to be known for being the one that kicked up that little dust that day, because obviously Game was hemmed up, but it was for an amount of time where apparently there was no time for him to make phone calls and somebody to come and mediate. There is never, ever a possibility upon the face of the planet, had I been on my guy like that, there would be an opportunity for what was we waiting on? I did that. But this is when I came out of hiatus and looked at this interview and saw him. I'm looking at the screen and he's telling this untruth. It blew my mind. So just so y'all know, I spoke to him over the telephone about it.
You spoke to Whack.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like, man, I wasn't there, bro. Yes, you was, Spider. I'm like, bro, Prodigy, you talking about everybody wrong? Whack, why is it not one other person in the world that is remembering me be there but you? Not only is he placing me there, he had a whole fabricated conversation he had with me about G-Unit Crips, batteries in my bag, 50 Cent, Game and 50 going. It's all fake imaginary. So when I saw his confidence of being so creative and putting my name in his mouth and being derogatory in his...
Let me just say this right quick, man. Whack 100 is the boys, man. Shout out to Charleston White. He done already exposed this nigga for being an FBI Fed agent, man. Ain't no reason to keep beefing with him. That's why he went at my man Jay Prince near Mob Ties down there in Texas, man. He tried to really trick him to coming out. You know, Prince don't say too much. Jay Prince don't say too much, but he came out and was explaining himself towards a fucking Whack 100, which is out of character. He don't seem like the big boogeyman no more. He don't seem like the scary Mr. Prince behind the scenes, because he done let this bitch ass nigga Whack get him out of character, man. You playing fair games. That's why he ain't set shit up. Nigga know not to play with this nigga. You run around with a known informant who brags about snitching on his gang members, and you run around doing interviews, dick riding, and getting all the money and clout chasing off of 6ix9ine. Come on, man. You can't be no respecter. There's no real nigga like that, man. This nigga ain't even part of your culture, man. You's a coon for that. What? You's a coon for that shit, man. I gotta keep it 100, man. Fuck Whack 100, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Drop them fire emojis. Support the channel. We don't fuck with frauds. Facts.
Since that he could never have that type of conversation with me in person. Every conversation we ever had in person, Whack has been none other than humble, timid, passive, and agreeable. That's it.
I believe it. He was like that with Hassan Campbell, talking about he had beef with Hassan. That nigga didn't do shit with Hassan. That nigga folded up like a bitch, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If y'all want to support the channel, support the channel. First, most important thing, man, share the live stream. Share the live stream, man. Shout out to all the FBA brothers and sisters and the American Aboriginal brothers and sisters in the chat, man. Let's continue.
That's the best way I can describe him. But if you look at him on the internet and how he tried to describe himself now, he kind of started that campaign, including my name. So once I saw that, it was like, you know what? If you're going to lie on me, I'm going to be honest on you. Yeah, because that never happened. I was never there.
How's Nina Boy doing, man?
Nina Boy going to be all right, man.
Yeah, Nina Boy has a YouTube channel. He just did a fight, a boxing thing with Bosco.
Yep, 697 for Death Doe. I know you might be aware that Nina Boy and our energy is not extremely loving at the moment. As far as
what happened now with that?
Well, there's a lot of people that's
If you don't know who Nina Boy is the East Side Crip as well, just like Spider Loc, man. He was into it with the nigga Busco, ugly ass Busco. You ever seen Bosco? That nigga ugly than a motherfucker. He like somebody's granddaddy. He only 32. Cuz look funny and ugly. But listen, he got into it with him, Nina Boy. That was the worst boxing match I've ever seen in my life. Nina Boy and Bosco boxing match is the worst fucking set of punching I've ever seen in my life, man. I think Nina Boy got beat up by his gang after that fight because he got violated for the way he was throwing punches. Seriously. That shit was sissified.
that's affiliated with our station that was kind of disappointed in his performance. And one of those individuals who was quite vocal about it, I kind of like shared his perspective on my channel, and Nina Boy didn't appreciate that. I'm not finna go into why I was comfortable doing that. I'm gonna just keep it off this.
So y'all feel like he kind of make the block look bad?
I'm gonna say, speaking on behalf of a gang of homies, yes. However, I want to make it clear that I never went on record saying that. Because he and I were on this public platform together, I kind of like bit my tongue and tucked my tail on giving my perspective and my opinion on his performance, just to say,
man, Bosco only 32 to 34, man. Y'all think this nigga 50 or something? Cuz like 34. Blood like 34. Y'all play too much in the chat, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Listen, that gangbanging shit over. But listen, that culture is trying to be usurped through hip hop. It's been inserted into theological cultures. You got niggas coming up claiming to be gang banging master teachers. Come on, man. Leave that shit alone, man. Leave that shit alone.
He's for the set and the homie. Yeah. However, one of our other homies who voice, literally is bigger than mine, but as far as his presence on the internet is not big as mine. He was vocalizing the way he felt, and then I kind of like amplified what he said by putting it on my platform, and Nina Boy didn't appreciate that.
So how are you now? What's the vibe now?
Well, he and I, out of respect for what we represent, have both agreed, from what I can understand, to leave it alone on the internet. However, I reached out through a mutual party to try to get on a three-way, and he denied that opportunity. But it's all love with me. It's like I never really had no ill feelings toward him. He did make some decisions that confused me, but they was nothing I couldn't really handle. I was never going to take an opportunity to go at Nina Boy publicly.
Right.
I did allow another homie to express what he had already expressed publicly on my platform as well, and he seemingly had took offense to the fact that I allowed that person to say it on a larger platform than it was already on.
Now, what do you think about the current state of the rap game on the West Coast now, particularly Southern California?
I feel like the rap game in general, as far as the whole thing, the identity thing is almost disappeared.
Yeah.
So shout out to Kendrick just for the fact that he has a unique presence and individuality in the style. However, it seems like the generation after Kendrick, everyone sounds like everyone. You couldn't even tell where somebody's from by hearing their record.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that in a negative light. It's just an observation, and it's different from what it has always been. And I try my hardest not to be the dinosaur dissing what is, because it's not what was, which I'm affiliated with. It's just different. I'm not really tapped into the heartbeat of the current hip hop scene. Through my children, I'm vaguely aware of what's cracking, but I know it's some new shit, bro. Like, I know that the desire to hear real quality lyrics is really not present. When you're creating, when you go to think about creating successful work, being lyrical is not really part of the equation, it seems.
Right. I think a lot of the spirit kind of went out the window when Nipsey passed. How cool were you with Nips?
Extremely cool. I believe I have the honor of putting Nipsey in his very first music video. We have a record called Come Smoke One With Us. Y'all go check it out. Spotted Loc featuring Nipsey Hussle. And it was at the very onset of his career. And then, however, while he was on the when he was on the climb, I went on a 7-year hiatus, which caused me at when he
talk that shit, Mr. 55.
really got to the bubbling stage at his height.
Shout out to Mr. Aboriginal Smith too, man. Top of the morning,
as if, perhaps I would have desired to be. But as I jumped back in the game, we got to politicking, and it seemed like as soon as he grabbed me in, and we was on like a every other day communication, he was sending me records. He was taking from us all. Yeah. And he was like my last real friend in the industry when it comes to rappers, executives, someone with influence that was willing to lend their likeness to my campaign. Yeah. He was the last. And it was like, as much as the world and his family and everyone mourned and suffered and took a loss, I feel goofy or selfish to even try to express how personal I took it. Right. Because there's so many people closer to him, and then the world felt it as such a magnificent level in general. But
now, did you know of Shitty Cuz beforehand?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Right. Not at all.
What do you think was the real deal?
Do y'all know who Shitty Cuz is? Shitty Cuz is Eric Holder, better known as Eric Holder, or the guy allegedly who shot and killed Nipsey Hussle. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shitty Cuz is Eric Holder. I just want to let y'all know that, man. That's Lil Shitty. Actually, that's Lil Shitty. Lil Shitty. He's Lil Shitty Cuz. Because Big Shitty is Brick. You know, I might not know the shit show, but that's Big Shitty.
Conspiracy theories about it.
Eric is Lil Shitty.
I don't think it was, to me, I don't think it was just some random, bullshit.
I believe that, Eric Holder may have had mixed emotions about the homie prior to that, but I tend to think that day the conversation was triggered by something similar as to what it's been leading. I don't think that they were the best of friends, and then that day that conversation came up and he was motivated to react like that. Yeah. However, I think there was some jealousy, negative feelings amongst them, and I think whatever was said triggered him, that side of him that already existed. And I love the homie, cuz, so I'm not finna go in depth as to what may or may not have taken place. However, I can recall when it initially happened, on the streets, it was reports that the homie went slightly bigger on him than is being said now. So outside of him just respectfully mentioning that he might have an issue he need to tend to.
Hey, man, I'm going to need everybody to hit the like button real quick. Let's try to get 200 people in the live stream. The only way we're going to be able to do that unless we get everybody to share the live stream at least one time. I ain't going to be in here long, man. We're going to wrap this up. This is a dope live stream. I got some shit to do today. We in South Carolina trying to turn up with Sister Betty, y'all. You understand me? So shout out to everybody. I just want to give y'all a good live stream this Grand Rising before I get on and continue my daily commutes and agendas, man. So shout out to everybody in the building. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Shout out to all the American Aborigines and the FBA brothers and sisters in the chat. Let's continue the live stream.
I can recall hearing that the homie was slightly bigger, and I'm not sure if that played a part or not, but he may have felt embarrassed, and that might play a part. Some niggas is
shout out to Real Live TV and TT Portier. Good to see y'all in the chat.
For some niggas, that's all it take. Yeah. Especially if you already with the shits. Yeah. So
what was the situation that happened with you and Yuck Mouth? What was that situation? How did that unfold?
Well, shout out to Yuck. That's my nigga Smoke a lot. Yeah. Oh my mama. But at that time, he had been on record being very vocal dissing G Unit. And the evening that incident actually took place, we were in the club, and for one reason or another, I wasn't feeling his energy. So I was trying to be honest, look for a reason to like get at him. And when I was in his face, the thing that could come to my mind was, "Cuz, why you always dissing G Unit?" And his response was, "Ah, man, I ride with Jay Prince like you ride with old boy," and that caused me to fire on him. I brought a real gangbang mentality to the industry, ignorant, East Side foolish mentality, thinking that I was doing what was on point because I was with the type of niggas that celebrated that, and that's what was looking for. It was very it was naive of me, and yeah, I was pushing that type of line on a lot of petty issues back then.
Now, what would you tell, because you're older, you're wiser, you've lived that, you've been there, you've done that, you learn from the mistakes. What would you tell an 18-year-old dude getting out here gang banging who just got put on, who want to get in the industry and use some strong arm tactics and do all of that stuff and get out here and make niggas check in and do all that? What would you tell a young dude who's just getting into that life right now as an OG?
That type of energy is just as effective as it is if you were working for FedEx, Amazon, or any other corporation. We don't be foolish enough to look at the industry as anything other than a corporation where people who are invested and interested in being profitable gather and network in order to turn a profit. The fact that the imagery may look grimy and gangster, don't let that fog your focus. Once you have made up your mind that you want to be successful, and part of your success is being popular, and you want the public to accept you, you have to realize that's where you leave active gang politics and activity. The more you try to blend them, the more difficult it's going to be to achieve your goal, and the quicker it is going to be.
You can't be a outspoken man. You can't be a good person. You can't be a respectable nigga if you're gonna be living by these certain cultures' rules, man. You gotta grow and develop. You gotta grow and develop. Understand that you have a youth and it's a bigger picture at hand. This psyops gang banging shit that took away the overall projective of what gang banging, right, or clicking up or squatting was really about, man. Seriously, they done totally corrupted it
for you to crash out.
I tell a lot of people, man, a lot of the OGs, they really try to discourage a lot of young cats to get in the game. Have you discouraged young dudes to?
Oh, definitely. And even the people like how you guys might view me as Spider from East Coast, a rapper, been turned down for years, inactive. I'll take that. However, all the people my age and older than me that I respect and look up to from East Coast that are considered reputables, that have no industry experience, no public presence, they tell me, you better stay away. You better not get caught up in this bullshit. You'll be stupid if you do. This is the same message I tell to youngsters. I went to jail recently, and I was in Burbank, and I met a youngster who happened to tell me that he was from the hood. I'm not gonna say what specific clique.
Yeah.
It's obvious to me that he's not from around there like that. I'll just get his hint. He's from one of the cliques that's block crip, right?
And right now, at this time of hip hop spaces, it's really a terrible time to be a gangster rapper, a thug rapper, a drill rapper, a rapper that lives and rap about what he's really doing, is because they're all getting you indicted. They're figuring out how to use the same method that they use towards the mob to use towards rap labels. That's called the RICO. We got to start pushing something else in this hip hop lane, man. Shout out to Trey Ali, shout out to Threads, shout out to Job Bricks, shout out to King Azir. They're changing the vibrational frequency, which is going to change the way people perceive hip hop eventually, because people are perceiving it as a gangster, detrimental culture, and they're locking them up. Rap artists have the hardest time right now. I can name over 40 different artists since 2020 that had pretty decent songs, that had a pretty decent wave, that is now incarcerated based off of the RICO Act. You understand me? They are really working extra hard to kill our vibe. Hip hop is part of Aboriginal culture. They put us in these dire situations and forces us to rap about it. And now when we rap about it, you get indicted. You see the game? That's what I'm saying.
Asked him if he had any tattoos. He like, yeah, I got the NY tattoo. And I had to educate him that the clique you claiming is not neighborhood, they blocks. And I felt it, upon myself to tell him, bro, change your life. It ain't worth it. Yeah. His lingo, you could tell I gave him a small little survey to see where he was at with it. And he's just the most recent example. But yes,
these little niggas become walking targets when you talk to them. You know they're gonna get hit just by their swag and
get sent to be throw your life away, and that's what they got out there for you. And even in my section, when I think about the people that have come beyond after me with the same spirit that I carried, they've been sacrificed. One of the most notables, I got people I told an old story on an interview recently, and it was a historic story. And because I told the account of this story and mentioned a certain individual that I respected what happened back then, I got cats tapping me on my shoulder just for even mentioning that guy, because that guy is no longer any good. And the reason why they consider him no longer any good, because there's a very young soldier who life has been lost, and they feel like he's responsible by being on the young homie. Yeah. I advise every young man. I have children that are grown, so I can't give any youngster any advice I wouldn't give my children. Right. I do have a whole nother level of advice for individuals that are involved, though. When you in it, and I know you in it, and this is not a conversation, when it's time for me to try to get you out of it, that's a different conversation. There are people that are young enough to where I wish they weren't involved, but they are fully involved. I talk to them totally different than I talk to the people who are in the valley of decision and on the
right.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about this whole thing where we have recently seen dudes in LA, which is some shit we've never really seen back in the past, but dudes who get on Instagram and do all this Instagram banging, and then they go to somebody's block and, spray paint the block and go spray paint a Nipsey mural, that type of goofy clout chasing bullshit. Where did that come from?
I really think it's just the clout. That's the word you use to describe it, and without being like too specific,
right.
It seems like that's what.
Truth over everything. I would agree, but that's what they want you to think, bro. They really want you to think that money is the corruption. Nah. You to have money is the corruption. That's what's corrupt, for you to have the cheese. It's not corrupt for them to have cheese and make these moves and make certain decisions and use their money to persuade what's going on in political sense. No, it's only a corrupt when you get the money, because they make it a corrupt. They don't like niggas with money. A nigga with money is like the equivalent to having a nigga with guns in the 1800s. You understand me? A nigga with money today is the equivalent to a nigga with a gun in the 1800s. It's detrimental to their existence. You understand me? Shout out to everybody in the building.
But it is, man. I don't know what caused, but you know what? To everyone's defense, I want to say this, because I gotta admit it. One of my most favorite footages from the years is a DVD or interview, OG Turtle and the Santanas from 1984.
Yeah.
And he was
R.I.P. to Turtle.
Rest in peace to the great legend. Yeah. But he was showing guns.
Yeah.
Talking about shooting at the Ludus Parks. Mm-hmm. So as I try to look at it like it's such a far-fetched thing, now I see it's just the graduation of what was. Our forefathers, even though they was really with the shits, they enjoyed showing it off. Yeah. And I believe that's just part of it.
Yeah. Man. Spider-Man, where can people find you? Where can they find your podcast?
A lot of the old guys that gang bang that they look up to showed it off, because that's what kids do. Teenagers does that. A lot of these early gang bangers who started a lot of these sets was children. There was kids. They was teenagers. This ain't nothing that adults go and jump in. I don't respect no nigga who over the age of 21 that want to gang bang, man. And that's what you simply find in a lot of these hip hop and these urban culture artists, man. These people don't understand how detrimental it is, how hard it is. People don't understand this shit, man. Motherfucker been out here living this street life since nigga was like 14, man. Nigga let that shit go when he was like 24, gang. That was way too late. You understand me? Y'all niggas ain't putting in enough work, man. Like I said, shout out to all the American Aborigines, man. This is just so eye-opener to what's going on, man.
Can they find you on social media, bro?
I'm glad you said podcast because shout out to Alex Alonso,
Yes.
who's just inspired me to start a brand new podcast. He's producing it for me. It's called Facts Over Feelings. You can find that at all your podcast streaming locations. That's Facts, FACTZ. OVA Feelings.
Right, Mr. Aboriginal Spill. Nigga was like 12, 13 when the nigga started banging on the set. Like really banging. That shit for kids, man.
FEELINZ, Facts Over Feelings. We're very more accessible. You can catch me on YouTube at youtube.com/Spotterloke Most Easty. That's where the black box goes up. And most recently, I want to announce that you can catch the Black Box episodes on the Tubi app on all your streaming devices. We just became.
Shout out to Cuz Spotterloke and shout out to Tariq Nasheed, man. Shout out to all the American Aborigines and of course the FBA brothers and sisters in the chat, man. This is it on the live stream, man. I'm about to end the live stream. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel. Make sure y'all be safe. Make sure y'all be aware. Make sure y'all stay vigilant. It's your brother Aboriginal Power. If y'all want to support the channel, Cash App and PayPal information at the bottom of the screen. Very important for you guys to share the live stream at least once on your all social media platforms. So shout out to everybody in the building. With that being said, man, we out of here. Peace.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with Perky, now that hair right up his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder.